Okay, hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Android tipping calculator tutorial. And now we're going to continue with the planning stage. I want to point out that this is very much a beginner's tutorial, and that's why we're spending so much time on planning. And we're basically going to spend a lot of time on the whole holistic app making experience, from planning all the way down to distribution. But in the future, the tutorials will be far more programming focused as we get harder with the code. But for now, we're going to focus on everything, including planning. So now that we have this list of things that we know what not to do and therefore what to do, we're going to make a plan. And I like to use either pen and paper, or if you have to record it for YouTube, like I do, then Paint works very well too. So we're going to make an app. First decision we're going to make, is it going to be landscape or portrait? And I'm going to go with portrait because that's what most users use their phone as. And so what do we have? We have pre-tax bill, because we want to make sure we calculate tax properly. People complain about that. And then down here we can have tip, because basically the expectation is that you tip based off of the pre-tax bill, not after tax is added. So you should add the tip first, or calculate the tip first, and then add the tax underneath that. So the tax section can go after that. Three main sections. The pre-tax bill, then the tip, and then you add the tax. And then down here we can have the grand total. Okay, great. Now we know that we want to tackle proportionally split check. So how do we do that? Well, if we're going to split it proportionally, we have to track what each person orders. So how do we do that? Well, customer 1, customer 2, customer 3. So we give them the option of having multiple customers. And then let's say we start with only one customer, okay? And these are optional. So when the app first launches, it only starts with one customer. And then we offer a button right here that gives us more customers. Okay, a more customers button, and when they click it, they'll get a customer 2, and then click it again, they'll get customer 3. Now, what we don't want people to do is have to do any math on their own, because that's not why they're using our app. Now, usually when you go to buy lunch or something, you don't just order one thing. You order a dish, and then a drink, and maybe a dessert. Now, we don't want the customer to actually have to add all that together on their own. And since we're asking them to divide it based on customer, we can't ask them to just put the final bill at the bottom either on the receipt. So we actually have to give them the option of adding multiple orders for each customer, and then we'll do the adding for them. So then all they have to do is copy directly from this receipt what everyone ordered. And hopefully that makes sense. So what I'm suggesting is this. Let's go ahead and move the more customer button over here. Okay. Now, customer 1 can have order 1, and you can have order 2, which maybe is a drink or something, and order 3. So customer 1 can maybe order 3 things. And then in doing so, it pushes down the column, or it pushes down every other customer. And it starts off with just one order, and then the other orders, just like the other customers, are optional. And again, we will have another button right here that will tell us, or that will let the user add more orders for each customer. Again, the purpose of this is so that if a customer has multiple orders, he doesn't have to add them up all by himself. He just puts them in, and our app will add it for us, or for him. And then, of course, each customer will have to have one of these buttons, and each customer will have to have multiple orders that are dynamically generated when they're using the app. So that'll be the pre-tax part of our bill. And then we have a tip part. So for the tip, we know that customers really want to be able to specify what tip it is. So the easiest way to do that is to just have a simple input where they type in the tip. That way they can type in whatever number they want. However, sometimes customers want, or users will want ease of use over over flexibility. So we'll give them two input options. One, they can just type the tip in, or two, we'll give them a slider, and it'll start at something like, I don't know, 0%, and it goes up to something fairly high, like 50%, because usually you're not going to want to tip more than 50%. And so if they want to really quickly set the tip and not have to type it, they can just move the slider around, and that'll be one way for them to input what they want to tip. And again, if they want a more customizable option, they can just type it themselves. As for tax, well, we'll just have a box here for them to type the tax, nothing too fancy. We don't want to assume any particular tax percent, because first of all, the customer probably doesn't even know it, and second of all, we definitely don't know it, so we'll just let them type a raw number, not a percent, and we'll add it to the grand total that goes here. So that'll be the main core of the app, and then underneath the grand total, maybe we can have some stuff like the split bill part. So we need split bill, and that can be underneath the grand total, and then it'll just be like customer 1, customer 2, and then $, $, $, $, $. So the bill will be split down here. It's not very neat right now, I'm aware, but it doesn't really have to be. And that's sort of the point. And then underneath that, we can have some more ease of use options or features, like a reset button that sets or basically resets the app so that they don't have to clear all the entries manually. That'll be helpful. And then one more thing that we can do to make our app a little bit more different and unique, we can have a little fun section down here that generates a fortune cookie. Fortune for our user. That'll be randomly generated, and we can have another button here that they can click to generate more fortunes. So that is our plan for our app. It's very, very messy, I know, not very neat, but that gets the job done. And if you go to my website, and by the way, I'll be using the website extensively while I do these video tutorials, because I don't have a script in front of me, and I figured I already wrote these tutorials on my website, because I might as well use them while I'm talking for my YouTube videos as well. So I have a version of the plan right here, and it's basically the same thing. Slightly neater, but not much. And it has notes here, which you should always keep in mind. And basically the same idea as what we have here. Okay, so let's close this. I won't save it because I already have this, but you can save yours if you want. And the reason we're doing this again is just to show you how the whole app making process works, at least for me, so that you can go and make your own apps after this. And to make good apps, you have to plan, so this is an important part to go over. Okay, we're done with the planning now. We know what we want to make. We can now focus on the actual coding. So we start with that in the next video, which I'm probably going to make right now. I just need to cut this so the file size doesn't get too out of hand.